Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154. Today we are following CheepoCheem of the Paid For clan in the premium tier 8 Swedish heavy tank, the Bofors Tornvagn. Now this was a vehicle that it's only been available to date in the Holiday Ops 2021 large boxes, but I guess as history shows, the premier tank that featured in the large boxes, they tend to be available for sale within about 6 months of being in a large box. So I guess, yes, you might miss out initially if you don't pick it up in large boxes, but you don't miss out for very long. Now, there's a lot to like about this tank. There's a lot to dislike about it. Probably one of the real dislikes that people have about it is its mobility. It's quite slow. Only 32 kilometers per hour is its maximum forward speed, which is pretty ugly. Its gun handling also leaves a lot to be desired. A base dispersion of 0.42 meters per 100 meters is really quite awful. But what you do get with this vehicle is an amazing hull down fighter, provided that your hull down position is such that it allows you to only engage the enemy from short to intermediate ranges. Fortunately, because of the low profile of the vehicle, you can actually find a lot of terrain features quite useful. Even destroyed enemy vehicles, or friendly vehicles even, become quite useful as hull down cover for you. So I guess the low profile means that you can be easily covered by the most innocuous of battlefield features. We've got 120mm main armament that the standard shells punch through for 248 millimeters of penetration, dealing 400 hit points. You also get a premium shell, which penetrates for 297 millimeters. So it joins one of the growing number of tier 8 vehicles that are getting on towards 300 millimeters of penetration, and that's really handy for keeping those vehicles relevant when they're facing off against tier 10 vehicles. But here we have a position where Tornvagn is really able to play to its strengths. It's able to stay hull down. It's only poking the turret out. Now, if we just wrestle control of the camera back here off CheepoCheem for a second here, that is a really small target that they are pushing over the ridge. This top of the turret is extremely well armored. In fact, it's only the bottom part of the turret here that's really a weak point, and even then you need 250 millimeters of penetration in order to be able to punch through that. And even if you could, you just have this massive muzzle brake in the way that is just fantastic at disrupting enemy fire. So being in a Tornvagn, you might struggle to hit anything, but you can be reasonably well assured that you're going to be quite resistant to incoming fire. Any misgivings, I guess, about the gun handling? Well, you can kind of offset them if you're positioning well, because you can hang your turret over the hull down cover, or whatever you happen to be using at the time, and be reasonably confident that you're not going to be taking damage. Now, the only exception to this, the sides of the turret are reasonably well armored, but 90 millimeters, even once it starts getting 90 millimeters of side armor to the turret, once you start getting a little bit of eccentricity to it, you are going to start taking holes. Now, we were struggling a little bit to penetrate the face of the VK16801P. Might have been partially an accuracy issue, might have been partially a dispersion issue. That one definitely a dispersion issue. So CheepoCheem has switched up to the premium rounds to at least give them some confidence that if they land, they are going to penetrate. But landing is presenting a bit of a challenge in the first place. At least it has been landing a couple with the premium APCR. Again, base dispersion of 0.42 meters per 100 meters is not great, but they are ultimately able to knock out the VK16801P. broadly speaking, they've had a bit of success against this enemy team. There were quite a few tank destroyers that were back here that I assume the ELC even 90 and the Link 6x6 had been able to spot out to their destruction. There are a number of heavy tanks that were contesting this J5 position, but now they're able to break out and really get some crossfire into some of these enemy vehicles. CheepoCheem lining up on the IS-3, possibly firing that one a little bit prematurely. I guess when you've got 0.42 meters per 100 meters of dispersion, when you're taking these shots at intermediate ranges, you really want to let that aim circle fully dial in before you commit to the shot. IS-3 was trying to draw a bead on them, but ultimately it was the Calibre that had knocked out the IS-3. This leaves the CS-52 lease that they are now moving to round in upon. A nice 369 hit points of damage inflicted upon it, and CheepoCheem's platoon mate feathers the red in the ISU 150K, sending the CS-52 lease back to the garage. They are now 5 guns up on the enemy team, scores 10-5, and we've seen a bit of a redistribution of the enemy team. Now they have at this stage 3 tank destroyers and a medium tank left. Some of these vehicles are guarding the southern approaches to the cap, so they may need to advance cautiously. Perhaps not so much for CheepoCheem because they have full hit points here, 1650 hit points, so very handy there. Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger hadn't moved too far. They'd been knocked out by the VZ-51 in fairly short order, just leaving 3 enemy vehicles and a 7-gun advantage to CheepoCheem's team. Coming around, we're looking for that ISU 152. That's going to be a very nasty customer no matter which way you look at it. He's able to line up on it and fire. ISU 152 electing not to take the shot. They're looking for perhaps some softer targets that might be available to them. They've been able to knock out the Calibre, as it turns out. CheepoCheem rolling in while the ISU 152 has been distracted and on the side and puts a shot into it. Moving up to engage the 59 Patton now with the Scorpion having been knocked out by the friendly Scorpion G. This just leaves the premium tier 9 Chinese medium tank, who's starting to cop it from all sides here. CheepoCheem rounding the corner, putting a nice meaty 433 hit points plus a fire on the 59 Patton, and manages to catch his first and only kill of the game there, but certainly ending that one in style. Let's take a look at their results. So a win and an Ace Mastery badge there for CheepoCheem of the Paid For clan in the premium tier 8 Swedish heavy tank Bofors Tornvagn. He has picked up 2 of these Battle Heroes medals. He's picked up the Confederate medal for hitting more enemy vehicles than any other player on the team, which needs to be a number of at least 6. But those vehicles, this is the catch, those vehicles have to be subsequently destroyed by another player. He's also picked up the High Caliber medal for accounting for at least 20% of the total hit point pool of enemy vehicles. And I guess when you see these 2 medals in tandem, that's possibly indicative sometimes of a player maybe going for damage rather than kills or knocking enemy guns out of the game. I certainly didn't see any of that from CheepoCheem in this particular game. He was really just engaging targets of opportunity, and these medals just happened to fall their way. So very well done there. In this case, over 5,200 hit points of damage inflicted on the enemy team. And for their efforts, and perhaps this is a function of sort of detection and playing from the front there, they've been able to enable over 1,100 hit points of damage to be inflicted through assist on enemy vehicles, so very nicely done there. We've also picked up a couple of badges of merit here. The Arsonist for destroying an enemy vehicle by setting it on fire. That was the unfortunate first and only kill there in the 59 Patton. He's also picked up the Fire for Effect medal for doing at least his hit points in damage, which when he's got 1,650 hit points of damage on the vehicle, but causing over 5,200 hit points of damage onto the enemy team, he's well and truly picked that up with interest. Having a look at the team scores well in advance of the next player behind them in terms of the experience points ranking, about 40% higher than the next player behind them, so doing really well there as far as experience points goes. And that's in spite of the VZ51 being able to cause over 3,700 hit points of damage and take 5 kills. But I guess CheepoCheem has the advantage here of being a bottom-tiered vehicle. So their potential to gain more experience as it's sort of scaled up, where you've got 8s causing damage to 9s, that has certainly made an effect on the experience point take here today. A special mention on the enemy team to the IS-3 and the CS-52. Those two vehicles had rather aggressively played the mid early in the game, and between them they'd caused nearly 2,000 hit points of damage, just not quite carrying hard enough. There were just a few too many fundamental errors made by this enemy team. Having a look at the detailed report, a very profitable game here for CheepoCheem. Nearly 180,000 credits picked up this game, although we did have 76,000 of those credits were as a result of the personal reserves bonus. But still, you take that out of the equation, you still have about 105,000 credits picked up as from a single Tier 8 premium battle. So well done there to CheepoCheem of the Paid For clan in the Tier 8 premium Swedish heavy tank Bofors Tornvagn. Hopefully coming to a premium shop sale near you. Like I said, they were only available in the Holiday Ops 2021 loot boxes to date, but the opportunity to pick up this tank is never usually too many more months away. In the meantime, if you've got a replay that you'd like to see featured on the channel, and please reach out over Discord or any of the links below and we will do our best to sort you out. I would urge you, however, to please check out the About section of our YouTube channel. That's got our community submission guidelines. If I had my way, I would feature every replay that gets submitted to me because I love you all. You're a beautiful community. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to produce that much content. I don't do this full time. Now, I could do this full-time if I monetized it. Maybe. I think there might be a few personal financial circumstances that might disagree with me there. But you get that. In the meantime, happy tanking and take care out there.